Oh, I started muted. Am I Claudio? Jesus. Well, anyway, what's up and welcome back to the show. Another Bears show. I'm Ivan Vargas, unmuted. A big win for the Chicago Bears last Thursday night. Couldn't ask for a better outcome than what we got in Thursday Night Football. Justin Fields was good again. I mean, we left a lot of meat on the bone, but good again. But DJ Moore, my God, everywhere for the Chicago Bears, doing everything, and I loved it, every single bit of it. Also, the defense showing up and giving us, giving us some more than we've seen from them in a long time. Some big plays from them as well. First of all, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to The Tape Never Lies, another Bears show. Make sure you go ahead, and if you want more breakdowns, join our Patreon at www.thetapeneverlies.com. Now that I'm unmuted, thank you guys for letting me know. I was prepared. I had everything ready to go except the mute button. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and jump into it. Big win for the Bears last Thursday night. I was looking. I said they were gonna win, last week, and I don't want to be, hey, I told you so, because I also was thinking it was going to be, a lucky win. I thought the Bears were going to escape by the skin of their teeth, and they ended up dominating majority of that football game. Pretty much the entire first half. The third quarter, well, we'll talk about the third quarter and the third quarters that they've been having throughout the season. But, they were able to go ahead and weather the storm, weather the comeback of the Washington Commanders, and were able to go ahead and put up some points in the fourth quarter and seal the deal with a big touchdown to the man of the hour, DJ Moore. And what more can we say about him, dude? He was exactly what we were thinking we got from the Carolina Panthers when we traded for him, that, at least in my opinion. And Justin Fields, the connection that they seem to be having is electric, in my opinion. And I really believe that whatever the Bears have figured out amongst their offense, it's going to sustain for a while. And until they get figured out, it's going to get sustained. And I really feel like a comfortability, or a slowing down of the game has happened for Justin Fields. I really do. You could see it in what he, when he makes throws. You could see him when, even in scrambling. There's still a little bit to work with. He took a sack that I really didn't like in the first drive, but he was able to come back and throw for a touchdown, in the very next play. So a lot to like from Justin Fields, a lot to love from DJ Moore. Let's go ahead and jump into the IR or to the injury report real quick. So I want to get that out of the way. Kyler Gordon and Doug Kramer back from IR. That's a plus. So we're going to get some secondary help. Doug Kramer coming back. I really want to see what he can do. I don't know if they're going to go ahead and maybe give him a start if Lucas Patrick can't go. I know they were looking at Lucas Patrick for concussion, but I'm really eager to see what he can contribute to this team. He hasn't been really healthy, but good for him to come back. The bad news is Herbert and Lucas were pulled from the game. Herbert with the knee, or with the ankle. It looked disgusting when I initially saw it. It looked like he tore his knee. I was, lucky to get away with an ankle. I'm pretty sure it's got to be some type of high ankle sprain or something to that effect. But he'll be out a few weeks. He's going to be out a few weeks. I really tight-lipped were the Bears and Matt Eberflus. I almost did it again. As always with the injuries and what's going on with those. Eddie Jackson's still out for right now. I know there's some rumors floating around, but we'll see what happens. Return of Darryton Evans. So, as Herbert goes out, the Bears go ahead and they go ahead and sign a running back to help their room out. Also, Donta Foreman has been activated, and that's a guy that I've been really, not disappointed. I just don't know where the hell he's been. Healthy scratch for pretty much a month. And then, all of a sudden it's like, all right, he's ready to go when two guys are injured. It's like, well, why wasn't he ready to go for the first 4 weeks? And I don't know whether it's attitude or lack of knowing the plays or the system. I don't understand it, but he's now not a healthy scratch, and he will be helping the Chicago Bears out this Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings. What I like about Darryton Evans is that he has he has this pride to him and he runs really hard. I think, him knowing the system and playing with us last year, knowing blasting game, I think that he's going to bring a little spark. I'm not going to say he's going to go for 200 yards and be our bell cow for the rest of the season, but he could provide a spark for us in this game coming up against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, blasting game, by the way, I got to give him some praise because he came in, and did a job when his name was called. 8 carries. I think he had 30 something yards or to that effect. But he was able to keep the clock moving. When his name was called, he answered, and that's what I like about that guy. He's a hard worker. When he gets the ball, when his name is called, he goes ahead and he performs, and that's all you can ask for from a guy. And I really liked what Kari Blasingame did when his name was called. Now, I looking at it from 10,000 feet, like we saw DJ Moore go off, we saw Justin have some success. Like I said, a lot of meat on the bone, left on the bone for him. But as I look at the running game, 32 rushes as a team, 32 rushes, 178 yards. That's something I really like. That's something I think that will benefit Justin moving forward if you can continue those numbers. I really believe the target number for rushes as a team should be 25 plus, 25 and up as a team. So in order to free up Justin, free up the play action, really give the defense something to think about. And you got to give Khalil Herbert credit, man. He was running his ass off up until he got hurt. I believe he ended with 10 carries, 75 yards. Let me go look at this. Yeah, 10 carries, 76 yards. And I believe he would have had over 100 if he would have stood healthy, maybe even got a touchdown. So, I'm really proud of how they attacked in the run. As I saw nothing to that effect the first 4 weeks. The running game was dead. The passing game was suffering because I believe the running game was suffering, and you just become one-dimensional. And it just wasn't good. This team has become, in two games, and yeah, I know the Broncos beat us, but in 2 games, this offense at least has become something different. And I'm not one to go ahead and say, "Hey, man, we're gonna run the gauntlet now from here on out." But I really believe that the way that Justin Fields has been looking, the way his confidence has shot up, the way that they were aggressive on offense this past Thursday night with something that, like I said, it wasn't there. It just wasn't there. What we saw Thursday night is what we expected, at least from this Bears fan, expected week 1 against Green Bay. You're going to attack with the run, and that run's going to lead to play action, going to lead to big plays downfield, and lead to Justin Fields having success as well. And it just wasn't there. But something clicked with them, and I really believe that utilizing this running game at all costs will also ultimately lead to big numbers in the passing game with Justin Fields. Now, get to Justin Fields' numbers. Had a big night, 282 in the yards, 4 touchdowns, 5. He had 3 sacks, 50. He had the long of 58 to DJ Moore, QB rating of 125.3, 11 rushes, 57 yards. Now, 15 of 29. Like I said, I like the aggression. You come right out of the gate, going deep to Darnell Mooney. I wouldn't say it was overthrown. I really say that should have been Darnell's ball. I really think Darnell. I don't know if he stopped the route. I don't know if he thought the ball wasn't coming to him or what. But I really felt like he should have just kept running through and made the catch, and it would have been a big play. He ended up trying to do some type of pirouette in midair, and it didn't work out. But Darnell Mooney's a guy that has been very disappointing up to this point, this season. 0 for 4 on his targets. Didn't get any yards, didn't get any ball catch. It was bad. It was rough to watch. It was rough to watch because I know Darnell puts in a lot of work. He talks about it. His teammates love him. His coaches talk about his work. So it's rough to see him having this type of a year so far. I think you need to get him going. If you get Darnell going, I think you're going to see a lot more. I think you're going to see a lot of more explosive plays because he's there. Like he's able to beat his man. Darnell is a really solid wide receiver. Really solid wide receiver. I think he's a really good number 2 for us. But if you're not able to connect, it's really rough because then it puts, and I know DJ Moore had a hell of a game, but it puts a lot of pressure on him now too. So now it's like DJ Moore is going to have to every single game be that dude, which he very well might be. But it would benefit us as a team if Darnell would at least. And I know, look, if you're only going to get 4 targets, hell, let me get two for 4. Let me get 3 for 4. You know what I'm saying? Let me get 30, 40, 50 yards out of you in a game, but we're not getting that right now. And it's been rough. It's been rough for Darnell. I'm hoping that it turns around. I'm actually thinking it will turn around this week against the Minnesota Vikings. You could see them trying to force the ball to him a little bit more, or Justin, that is, trying to get the ball to him a little bit more. I know they missed on a touchdown pass later in the game as well. And, going back to Justin, like, you're going to have to connect the initial one, that first long pass of the game, I'll put on Darnell. The second one I really would put on Justin Fields. It should have been a touchdown, Darnell Mooney. It really should have. I think the ball was just poorly placed by Justin, and that's what it is, man. That's how it goes. But I really hope that you could get Darnell involved a lot more. I think it'll benefit everybody, especially DJ Moore. But as far as Justin is concerned, you got to connect on some of these passes. There was another one, I believe, with guess who? Darnell Mooney coming across the field that he just threw long, and it was just out of his reach. And like I said, these things need to be cleaned up. I'm not going to go ahead and nitpick Justin because he had a fantastic game when he was connecting, and he was connecting majority of the time with DJ Moore, who went 8 of 10, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he could have had another one. He could have had 4. He could have had 5. To be honest with you, because he had he could have had 4 because he had the one he had the one that he stepped out on, and then there was one in the end zone that went long as well. That was on Justin Fields. So I really believe that if they connect on those, he could have had 5 touchdowns. But that's neither here nor there. It's got to be cleaned up. Justin had a good game. That's that. But still a lot of meat left on the bone. Cole Kmet, 5 for 5, 42 yards, and a touchdown. Cole Kmet was reliable on Thursday. And I know that's something that kind of scared to say, but he was reliable on Thursday. And if he could be that guy, I mean, that's what we need. Be where you got to be. Do your job. And I'm not asking you to be George Kittle. I'm not asking you to be Travis Kelce or Travis Swift, whatever you want to call him now. But, if he could do what he did on Thursday, that type of consistency, I'll take. If you could be, boom, I'm in my spot, I'm open, I'm here for you. I'm right here. Don't give up the ball. Be protective of the football once you have it. Don't be overly aggressive where you're lazy and you leave yourself open for fumbles. But I think Cole Kmet is right where he needs to be. If he continues this trajectory, if he continues doing shit like this, then yeah, I like where we're going as far as him as a player. So, that's pretty much it for the stat. As far as the stat, like, there was other guys that contributed, and I'm going to get to the defense here in a minute, but the offense was really well. Just going to give Howell some props. 37 of 51, 388 yards, 2 touchdowns, 99.8 rating. He did his job. The secondary, I mean, they were beat up as they were. They were able to do enough to keep them at bay. Stroman, a big interception. The defense coming up with 5 sacks. Eberflus blitzing. What a concept. Blitz to generate pressure and, pick up some sacks and slow down the pace of the offense. So, I was really pleased with how the defense performed. I got to give a shout out to Billings. There was a big 3rd and 1 in the first quarter, and he absolutely stuffed Robinson. He just flew through the line and stuffed Robinson for a loss. And I want to give him a shout out to that because that was just, for a big man, he moved very fast. And I was really surprised because I didn't know he was able to move that quickly. And yeah, he did, and he was able to stuff the run and bring up fourth down. Um, looking at the offense, going back to the offense real quick, the big plays, right? And like I said, they were aggressive. They were aggressive throughout the game, and at the very end, you didn't see them start coasting. You didn't see them play scared. They were aggressive from start to finish. And like I said, the third quarter, a little rough, a little rough. You have to pick it up in the third quarter. I believe they're giving up over 40 points in the. I think they're plus 48 or minus 48, or however you do it, in giving up points. I don't think they have a point in the third quarter all year, if I'm not mistaken. I got to go back and look, but they're not doing really hot in the third quarter. So, I would imagine that that's going to be addressed, or it should be addressed. But as far as Thursday was concerned, we had plays of 58 yards, 34 yards, 39 yards, 56 yards, 32 yards, and a 20-yard TD. And, a lot of those were to DJ Moore. But, that's something that we haven't had here in a long ass time, dude. And I don't know whether it's, going to be DJ all, every single game. But if you could go ahead and make sure he gets about 10 to 15 looks, at least you're trying to get in the ball 10 to 15 times a game, I think you could go ahead and really have some big explosive plays throughout. And like I said, include Mooney in that, because Darnell is able to do the similar things that DJ can do. He's obviously not as powerful as a runner. He's not as dynamic, but he could get away from you. And he could escape. He's a very tough runner after the catch. So get these guys involved. I love the big plays. I love the shots downfield. And so love the win. We're gonna go ahead and jump into these interviews right now. I'm gonna go ahead and let it play for a second, and I'll be jumping in and out, giving you my opinion, calling out the bullshit if I hear it. And without further ado, here's Matt Eberflus. I will be joined by my producer here in a little bit. He's running late with a baseball game. But Chris Jacko will be joining me here soon. But here's Matt Eberflus from right after the victory on Thursday.
That open for questions. What did you see from Justin tonight? Overall, picture, explosive first half, kind of weathering kind of a drought there in the second half. Yeah, I mean, just poise. I saw poise the entire time. You can see him being comfortable in the pocket, going through his reads, delivering the ball on time. But that takes everybody. It takes the receivers, being in the right spot. It takes the protection, and that's what I saw. And my favorite play of the day was when he scrambled and slid at the end. Because that was very smart. Me being a defensive guy, to get the clock out of there. Whittle the clock down. But excellent job, and he's really learning the position, learning the offense, and he's just growing. And now he's starting to get the fruits of his labor here the last couple of weeks, and we're just going to build on that momentum.
How big were some of the contributions from the young guys on defense, like Stroman and Smith, getting turnovers?
Yeah, that's big. Those guys are young. We put them in there. We have no problem putting them in there because they're talented players, and they did a nice job. We talked about everybody taking a swing at it, and they did a good job of taking the ball away. So Stroman's interception was outstanding. We were in a coverage that dictates him to follow that guy inside there like that. He did a nice job stepping in front of it. So that was really good. And then really Smitty was just will. He just willed it to happen, and the guys stayed up and did a great job of raking the ball out, and then recovering it. So it was really, really good play.
What did it mean to walk into a winning locker room?
Yeah, that's the way you get into coaching. Been coaching 32 years. So when I started doing it, I was 22 and 9 months. I was coaching the guys that I played with. So that was a little weird, but it's fun because you get to see the smiles and the joy for their hard work. All the staff members, the coaches. It's a lot of work that you put into this. We've gone through some adversity, but we learn lessons from that adversity. Those things harden you a little bit. It's
Jessica, congratulations for literally being the first woman on this show.
Game-sealing touchdown in the fourth quarter. Like your own emotions.
Yeah, I was right there.
I got the
saw it,
analytics,
and,
too, to
right
prove
there
it
on
so.
the sideline, and man, he's just an amazing athlete to be able to take that ball and then just the way he catches and concentrates. The guy tried to step in front of it, and he just has great concentration, and that's every day. He's like that. So he's a true pro. He's our hardest worker, which is really really cool to say. Because he's a really good player, and he's a great example to model after.
With the understanding that the next game is a new game, what does a result like this do for your process?
It's just it's really the fruits of the labor, right? It's guys sticking together, guys working hard during practice, and now they see results from it. It gets frustrating, with the players, and I understand that, and I've talked to every one of them about that. I said I understand the frustration, but you have to stick, stay positive. Your eyes have always got to be forward.
See, like, if anything, he's consistent. And like, I hate the shit when we're listening to the positives during a loss. I don't. It sounds a little different during the win. It sounds, it sounds a bit different during when it sounds like consistency. But the way he approaches losses in his pressers, it sounds like a bunch of jumbled lies. Like, he could be a little bit more real with how badly the performance was, throughout the last 4 weeks. And I'm not talking about, MFing players, at the mic. I'm just saying, being real about the execution, how poorly it's been throughout the season. But right now, I agree. Like, he's right. The reason why they're having some success is because they haven't lost the locker room. These guys haven't, had a mutiny or anything like that. I to that point, I think he's correct.
And this is going to be no different. I'm going to get in there on Monday. I'm going to say, hey guys, there's corrections here that need to be made. How you get better as a football team is make those corrections, okay, and get better from your performance. If you win by 20 or you lost by 3, that's what it is. That's how we're going to get better as a team.
Washington's kind of hanging around and chipping away in the second half, and you're just a couple days removed from a game in which the other team came back. I mean, you say anything to these guys, or you trust them enough that they're going to kind of respond there and dig in?
Yeah, that was the message. That was the message all week about finishing. And what you do is you finish with detail. You finish with cycle of the snap. You finish playing one play. And you can't look at the scoreboard. You just got to have an opportunity. Hey, I'm playing this one play, and if you keep it that way, execution is going to be good. And that's what they did today.
What kind of defensive arrangement went into trying to stop Sam Howell on that O-line?
Yeah, I mean, at the second half, because of the score the way it was, that was pretty much a pass game from there. But again, the first half, obviously their line blocks really well in the run game. Their runners are strong and they get downhill, and we were definitely concerned about that going into it. The tackling aspect of those guys. So,
And I'll say this about tackling: it's still not great. There's still a lot. Sam Howell had a scramble where he was juking the shit out of cornerbacks, breaking linebacker tackles, taking shots, and still going forward. So the tackling hasn't been, and you saw what happened against Denver with McLaughlin. So the tackling has not been great. It's been better, just not great.
once they got into a passing game, we got a chance to rush the passer. We, obviously blitzed a few times and got some pressure that way too. But that's how we handled the game.
You got a lot more pressure today, seemingly. With
Appreciate you, Sean.
Especially that drive right before the middle of the first half.
Yep.
Got home with some pressure like 3 straight times. What unlocked for the front in terms of
Muhammad, we'll get to that later.
Just pinning their ears back, right? In their approach angle, their move area, just doing the basics of rush. And, those guys are starting to work together more. And I think the continuity is starting to gel and be there. So hopefully we can build upon that.
Yeah, real quick, guys. I'll be breaking down, or I'll be previewing and breaking down my thoughts on the Vikings game at the end of the show. So stick around. It'll be right after these interviews, and then that'll lead us into keeping it fantasy.
Matt, late first half to get that takeaway from Greg and then turn it into a touchdown. How big of a swing was that for you guys just to do that swing?
Yeah, those are always big. The takeaway is huge. It sets field. You stop a possession. There's a lot of things to that. It's we have to do a better job of that. We haven't done a good enough job of that, but we did tonight. So we got to build upon that, and it's always hard to get those. But again, you got to be fanatical about it, and it's got to be done in practice first, and then it'll be done in the games.
Real quickly, I want to answer this super chat. You know, I was just thinking something similar to that. Was Justin in that first drive? There was a play, I believe, right after the first big play to DJ Moore down the sideline. They went under center, which I liked. They had Blasting Game, they had Herbert. They ran it up the middle, didn't go anywhere. And then the very next play, they were in a pistol-like formation. They had Blasting Game to Justin's right, and they had Herbert right behind him. And this was the sack play. And initially, you could see right away that both running backs are wide open. And for me, Justin, and you're absolutely correct, I think he does try to press downfield at times, and he needs to continue to learn to take what the defense is giving you, if not only to mask something later, but just to keep them honest. And quite honest, I think that's a great point. He needs to get them more involved. Like I said, that play I saw a Blasting Game too, out in the flat. He could have had 8, 9 for first down. Who knows? He could have ran for 25 yards. He could have broke it. But regardless of that, there's some times where I think he tries to press. I know he was trying to do that to Mooney a little bit these past few games. But as long as they're going to go ahead and put the running backs, both running backs in the game, if they utilize 2 running backs a lot more than they'd have in the past 4 weeks, I think you're going to see Justin start to jump a little bit more when need be. I really like the aggression. Like I said, I don't want them to start reverting back to screens or whatnot. But yes, use the running backs a little bit more. Will he continue to play at a high level with others on his team? Double and G. I think he will. You're gonna eventually have to grow up and know that you're the guy, and your number is going to be called on when DJ's doubled, when Darnell's struggling, when Cole Kmet isn't where he needs to be or doing what he needs to be doing, or if the running game is struggling, it's going to fall on Justin. I think that he's reached a point, and you kind of call it rock bottom. I really feel like that Broncos game was rock bottom for a lot of us. Like I didn't know what else to say. Like there was nothing else to say. Everything that anybody was saying negatively about them was correct, and any criticism was deserved. And I know they call it noise, and I get it. You're trying to stay focused and stay together, but that noise was justified. Like that noise was, it was real life. Like you weren't performing up to the level that we, were expecting in year 3, or and with this team going into year 2 of this regime, nobody was performing how we were expecting up until this point. So, I really feel like he's going to continue to take another step. And I think it's going to be very hard at the end of the year making a decision on what to do with Justin Fields. And to be honest with you, that's the perfect position. That's the position we want to be in. Make it hard for the Bears to let you go. Make the decision, the hardest decision they have to make, or make it the easiest one and blow everybody out of the water and throw for 4,000 yards and go ahead and put up 37 touchdowns and be that dude. But either way, it's going to fall on Justin to be the guy, and I think he's going to be the guy to take that step. Let's go ahead and get into the next day's interview with Matt Eberflus. There's a lot of good stuff here. He does somewhat admit that there has been a lack of execution. And like I said, I think as not a young head coach, but as a first-time head coach, Matt Eberflus is progressing as well. I would hope, at least in the interviews, because in the interviews he's been killing me. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into that right now. Here's Matt Eberflus on Monday or Friday. Or sorry, no, we got Justin on that. Yes, sorry about that, guys. We got Justin, and then we'll go ahead and hear Matt Eberflus again.
Just a feeling, that we all had after the game. It's a feeling that you just never wanted to end. So, just proud of the way, all the guys came out and played tonight. And, O-line did their thing versus the dominant D-line. They showed out. Really just everybody. Running backs did their thing. Receivers, of course, did their thing too. So just proud of everybody.
Justin, there was a lot of tension in the second half when they were making their comeback. How did it feel to you to see DJ running away with the ball at the end and knowing that that was going to be it?
Yeah. Sign of relief for sure. I think we just had to reset. Of course, the drive where we had a false start, everybody was kind of jumping around a little bit, but it just went over to the guys and just said, calm down. We're in a great position. Defense going to go out there and do their thing. And they did. Got a stop. And, of course, when DJ made that catch and run, it was pretty much game over by then. So, heck of a play, great catch, great protection up front, and executed it well.
He had the majority of your yardage today, and he should. I mean, you're throwing to him all the time. He's there for that reason. What does that change about your game to have the best receiver that you've played with during your career?
Yeah, I mean, it makes my job easier. They left him one-on-one more times than I thought they would tonight. So, when you always have him one-on-one,
Robert?
He's going to win 95% of the time. So, just thankful for him, to be honest. He makes my job way easier. So, yeah, I mean, he showed up tonight, 8 catches for 230. Like, that's a crazy stat right there. So, he definitely did his thing tonight for sure.
The first third down that gets them for 58, can you just walk us through that play there?
Yeah, I mean, that was just a pure progression left to right. Got one high on that, and he was just one-on-one, like I said again. So, one-on-one. He double move at the top, got the corner off of him, and then he was just wide open. So, yeah, I mean, great protection because, you definitely need time on that play for that, route to develop. Great protection up front. And, of course, he routed up the corner.
And it's funny. The explanations get more detailed with a win. With losses, you ask certain questions. You ask what happened on this play, what happened on that play, and it's very, very short, very to the point, and very I guess. But during wins, you want to explain every single detail of the play. Just something I picked up on.
Corner at the top, so made my job easier. Buddy was wide open, so yeah.
Just as far as throwing to DJ, have you gotten more? I don't want to say forced it to him, but have you gotten more aggressive throwing to him than you were in the first couple of games?
Not really. I mean, I think my biggest thing to Luke is anytime we can give him the ball, he's get him the ball because one, he's a great receiver. We all know that. But, two, just with the football in his hands, he's able to make guys miss, like you saw on that. He had like a 10-yard stop route or whatever. Caught it, made the corner miss, broke a tackle. So anytime you can give him the ball, it's always going to, be good for us for sure.
It's a 10-point game in the fourth quarter, and you have that drive that you lead them down. Like, how important is that for you to be able to put a team away on the road and get that?
Yeah, I mean, it's really important. I was just, preaching to the O-line before the drive started, like, touchdown seals the deal right here. So, glad we were able to go out there and do it. Like I said, they protected their butts off all night against a great defensive line. Proud of those guys for the work they put in. Really just proud of everybody. Proud of everybody blocking the outside noise out and really just working. So, really a tribute to everyone in the building for doing that.
You tried lowering your shoulder on that one play. Can you just take us through that where you're trying to,
I pick and choose when I do that. Usually I don't do that, but saw a little corner and tried to, give him a little But yeah, I probably won't see that too much. Anymore. I'll probably
Don't do that at all, in my opinion. Just because you lower your shoulder, and I know he's a cornerback, but you lower your shoulder on the wrong dude thinking, you're going to be able to truck him and he's got some pop to him. I'm just afraid what would happen to the team if you went out. Like, I know people talk about Tyson Bagent, but I need Justin. I need Justin to stay healthy. So please don't be lowering your shoulders on anybody. Just take the yards, get out of bounds, get down.
Probably get talked to about that in film. Probably just, taking care of myself and doing that stuff. But, yeah, I pick and choose. I know the DB probably weighed like 190, but linebacker, you probably won't see me doing that. But pick and choose when I do that.
Is it tush push? Is that new for you guys? Break it out a little bit?
Not really. We've had it in for, quite some time. I think the O-line did a great job executing it tonight. And, anytime you can get a third and short, fourth and short, and be able to convert on those downs and get a new set of downs, that's going to be big for offense.
And that was something. And Brett, you're right. The O-line was on fire. Justin Fields, his comfortability is due to the fact that the O-line did its job against a really, really tough defensive line in the Washington Commanders. Uh, Again, I pointed to fatigue from not only a short week but a very hard fought loss against a division rival in Philadelphia. Uh, that contributed to the Bears being able to do what they did against the Commanders. I really believe that Tevin Jenkins was that spark. Tevin healthy, we talked about the ups and downs of Tevin Jenkins' very young career so far, but when Tevin's out there, there's no doubt the talent. When he's healthy and he's out there, there's no doubt the talent. And he was, if you guys want to check it out, PFF for those guys, those of you that are into that sort of thing, Tevin Jenkins was our second highest rated player on offense for them at an 81.2. So, Tevin being out there was absolutely huge. You got to give credit to Whitehair for sliding in when Patrick went out. Nate Davis was doing his thing. The only guy that I really was really worried about was Larry Borum. And Larry Borum he didn't grade out well. I didn't think he performed, overly great, but, they were helping him out. They were bringing in a lot of max protection. They were chipping and trying to help him out there. But one-on-one, my God, he was getting beat very easily by those ends in Washington. So, O-line, their best game I've seen this season. I damn sure for sure from last season. This is their best game in a long time. I think it's their best game as a unit since Matt Eberflus took over. So kudos to them.
Stand defense. So glad we were able to execute on those third and shorts tonight.
Moving parts.
Said he was really
Yeah, it's a moving parts on the offensive line, especially at center, and having even Tevin back in there. How do you think they did and managed all the moving parts?
I mean, we were preparing for that to happen pretty much all week. Lucas was rotating Lucas and Cody were both, playing center this week during the walkthrough, so I kind of knew that
pancakes
it went down that way. But
that's what it was.
Handled it really well. All those guys in the room are really close. They get each other better each and every day in practice. So just proud of the way Cody stepped in at center, and you can really put Cody anywhere, guard or center. He's gonna get the job done. So, and of course, it's always good having Tevin back playing ball. So but proud of those guys and the way they played tonight.
Borum's just I feel like Borum's on musty level when it comes to back. Like, yeah, he's a decent backup, but don't have him don't have him start. I could agree with the backup, but even then, like, I wouldn't want to say I'd be comfortable with him out there.
How would you describe what that felt like in there?
Just felt good. Just seeing all the hard work pay off, especially getting a dub after everything that's happened this year. Everything in the media, everything on the outside. It just feels good when you can say that the hard work paid off. So again, I'm proud of everybody in the building. I love everybody on my team, players, coaches, everybody upstairs. I might not even know them, but I love y'all. So but yeah, so I mean that feeling was, like I said before, a feeling that you never wanted to end, and we just gotta keep this momentum going, and just get ready for Minnesota coming up next week. So appreciate y'all.
And going back to last week, I was very upset with how they were taking the ball out of Justin Fields' hands in short down yardage situations, and they were doing this tight end sneak for God knows what reason. It just didn't make sense to me that you were taking the ball out of your most dynamic player's hands on a short yardage situation when his best attribute so far has been his legs and his size. Like Justin Fields under center being, with the tush push, is moving 2 to 3 yards ahead and picking up the first down every single time. So the fact that they weren't running that the first 4 weeks is just, it blows my mind. Like I don't know what the light bulb was. Maybe it was like I said, that rock bottom against Denver, but thank God they used it this past week. Justin Fields putting the ball in his hands more and more and asking him to deliver is only going to it could only do two things, right? It could do one of two things. It could give him confidence to where he succeeds, or he doesn't succeed. That's going to be up to him. Like I said, ultimately, you're going to have to find out who Justin Fields is at the end of the season. So for me, I like the fact that they were giving him more leeway to control the situations when it was short down yardage, when it was a big time situation. Like I said, that first drive, 3rd and 14 after the sack, he throws a touchdown pass to DJ Moore. He throws a dart to DJ Moore, looks off the safety, boom, DJ Moore wide open in the end zone. So, the more confidence he builds, the better he plays, and I think the better it'll be for the Chicago Bears. Now we'll be hearing Matt Eberflus from, I believe it was Monday, if I'm not mistaken. This is the next day following the game.
Of what last night's victory provides. In your experience, what is the value of having the long week now and the psychological boost of being able to have that feeling for 9-10 days before you?
Yeah, I just think it's good, because when you work at something and you have adversity, and you just learn how to do hard better, and when you have that happen to you, right, and then you have success, I think it makes it that much more lasting. And you remember how that feels. That the hard part of it, and it's the only easy day was yesterday, right? That's what the Navy SEALs say, and that's true about NFL football too, right? So you got to keep pressing. You got to keep moving to get better and making the corrections that you need to make, because each opponent's different and everybody's looking at your weaknesses. So we got to make sure we make the corrections and improve our weaknesses and get strong and maintain strength where we're strong. So it's a challenge every week.
Matt, the analytics show with Justin Fields that he has been, the stat that they use is throwing more aggressively, which means throwing more frequently to receivers that are pretty well covered. The last 3 weeks, that number's been way up for him compared to the first 2 weeks. What happened?
I just think the comfort level, and I think you see him having more poise, when he's in the pocket and when we're moving him out of the pocket. And I think he's getting the chemistry with the group. Overall, you can see great chemistry with, DJ, and Cole and Mooney and the rest of the guys that are catching, for us. And you can see that in practice. And he feels more comfortable making those throws now. And it's going to continue to grow.
So on the last touchdown to DJ.
We didn't forget, Brian. We didn't forget the defense did a wounded defense, a depleted secondary. They did a really good job at generating sacks. They generated a couple turnovers. So they did a good job. I just need to see more of that moving forward. Even with that being said, they gave up a lot of yards. It was a garbage time type of situation for a while, to say the least. But regardless of that, I think that was their best game so far this season.
Even the announcers were rather ebullient in their praise that you could have just taken it conservatively. Why did you decide to make that throw on 3rd and 2 as opposed to just sitting on the ball?
That was a pretty conservative throw. It's a hitch route. So it's he just took it to the house. So it's just the guy went to make a play on the ball, and DJ had great focus and concentration, and then that's what happened. So it is a pretty conservative play.
Matt, over the past 2 weeks on offense, you guys used a lot more 12 personnel. And over the past 2 weeks, the offense has looked a lot better. Mm-hmm. What went into the decision to increase that 12 personnel?
Yeah, that to me is just really about utilizing the people that we have. You can do a lot of things out of 12 for us. You can flex guys out. Both guys can flex out. You can give formation variation. And you can also do a lot of what max protection, where you can take shots down the field. So there's a lot of things you can do there in 12 personnel as opposed to 11. So we just feel it's a really good personnel group for us. And again, you got to flex and change and move, your offense in this league. So we could, potentially change in the future, use more 11, no tight ends, 13 personnel, whatever it is, we got to make sure we move it.
Matt, what have you you want to get better? You want the team to get better at in the next quarter of the season?
Yeah, we're doing self-scout right now. We've obviously been working on the details of each position over the last couple weeks, and that's paid off for us. But again, we'll look at it. I started meeting with the defense this morning on the self-scout. We just start, in the run defense, the pass defense, and then, third down situations, 2-minute, all that red zone. And I'll do the same thing with the offense this afternoon. And then we'll just come up with a plan. And what guys do well, what we need to help them on to do better. Each individual guy, and also in our scheme. That's offense, defense, and kicking. So we'll get most of that answered today, so we can formulate a plan for on Monday, so we can give it to the players. So when the players come in on Monday, we'll have a summary of each section, and then we'll have a thing for each guy to get better at, and that's how we improve.
Are you going to add any staffing?
Staffing? Yeah, we're just working through that right now. We'll have some conversations this weekend on that, but we're just working through that.
So is that still legit? Is that really on the table though? Are you really considering that you might bring somebody in, or you might kind of restructure the defensive staff now that you have a little bit of a break?
Yeah.
Or is that just kind of the
general? No, we're having conversations on that.
For those of you that don't know, the Bears are considering bringing in a defensive analyst. He wouldn't be a coach. He would be a game preparation. It really isn't that specified. It's kind of vague still what exactly they're going to be doing, but I guess they'll be preparing the defensive scheme for the following week, while Eberflus focuses on the week at hand, just to help him out, I guess, or something to that effect. There's a lot of rumors going around about who would do it. For those of you that continue to say Lovie Smith is going to be involved in any way, shape, or form with this organization, stop it. It's over. I don't think any old Bears are coming back to go ahead and be the defensive. Well, I won't say that, because Leslie Frazier is an older Bear, and he's a name that's being floated around out there. But I don't think by any stretch of the imagination that Lovie Smith is even considered to come and do this. I don't know why a man would go ahead and take a lesser job to work under someone else on a team that he led to the Super Bowl. Just give it up. Just let it go.
And if it works, if it's right for us and it works for us, that's great. If it doesn't, then it'll be what it is. But we're still looking at it. We have an open mind, certainly on all those things to make us better. And there's nothing wrong with bringing somebody in that can help, that has a different perspective. But again, we're open-minded to that.
Are you gonna call plays either way?
Like I said, we'll see where it is. Right now, my plan is to do that for sure. But we'll see where it goes.
What do you see in Justin the last 2 games that you identify as true growth rather than just a couple of good games?
Yeah, I mean, you can just see the confidence, So when you have
no, not
when
wanting.
you have growth, in your
wanting.
profession or my profession or in him being a pro quarterback, you can just feel it, and you can feel the guys around him, the comfort level and the confidence that they're having, the chemistry that they're having. You can see it in practice, you can see it in the games, and to me, it's just about the growth is about the execution and then the consistency of that execution. So. In the games in practice, we've seen it. Obviously, he's 43 of 64 for almost 700 yards the last 2 games. So 8 TDs, 1 interception. So that's growth. That's really where it is. And then the consistency of that, just stacking games like he had the last 2, just keep stacking them up.
And I pointed to Eberflus. Like I said, if he's nothing, he's consistent with this, and that's preaching, being calm in a storm, just preaching the positives and staying consistent with that. I could deal with that during a win, coach, but when your execution has been so porous that people around the country are looking in like, what the hell is going on? Why isn't this guy fired? There has to be some realization and some truth said that you weren't execution. We're not getting it done. Like, we don't need to be spoon fed, sunshines and rainbows. for you to be honest with it. Like, just be real. It's not being done properly on all phases. We have to be better. That's it.
And that's what he wants to see, and that's what we want to see.
In addition to the increased growth and the confidence, to your trained eye, what have you seen the last 6 days in terms of the offensive evolution and things that you guys are doing to, you know, a lot of the players have said the identity feels like it's coming together now.
Yeah, I think it starts with the run game, you know, being able to really establish that. And I think the guys are really doing a good job with that, you know, being able the ability to run the ball, because that sets up a lot of things, and that's what we want to do. And then the passing game has been multiple. You know, we've been throwing from the pocket, you know, in roll passes, in, you know, direct rolls, misdirection movement plays, using solid protection to throw the ball down the field, releasing everybody, you know, throwing quicks, which we haven't done. So there's been a lot of multiplicity to it, and I think it's hard to defend. And the looks have been different. You know, the looks from last week were different than this week, you know, and then so forth. It's got to keep doing that because you gotta make it look different, even though you're running the same type of concepts.
Matt, you've had a lot of things go against you this year, some bad breaks or whatever, some things of your own volition. Last night you had some things go your way. Justin had a high snap that he gained 8 yards on. You had a DPI flag that was picked up. They missed a field goal. That last touchdown to DJ Moore could have been a pick six. It went your way. Do you believe that good teams get breaks and that as you play better, those little things will go your way? Is that part of building momentum to you, or is that just kind of whimsical?
No, I think
You sound a little whimsical, Mark. I don't even know what the hell the question is. Like, do good teams get lucky? I guess.
I think some of that is sometimes it happens that way, but I also do you create your own luck. You know, you create your own luck with how you work and how you prepare, and if you put yourself in position to make plays, you and the playmakers to make those plays in certain situations, they make them. You know, DJ made that play, you know, in that moment because he's a really good player, and we put him in the situation. So, and he made the play, so it was really good.
But do you see that as a difference last night? The things went your way. Little things, you know, little things went your way that weren't going your way.
Yeah, I also think you create situations too. You know, you create takeaways, and you also create protecting the ball. You know, I think that's very important that you do that, and that's the number one stat in ball.
Man, how far does this win go towards?
Before I want to, people care bringing up, you know, Ben Ricketts brought it up, and Eddie Jackson, and then you know, everybody else is mentioning about Eddie and Jaquan. Jaquan, like I feel like he feels like he's been established. You know what I mean? Like he's one of the top safeties in the league, which he's not. I don't know. Like I like confidence, but sometimes it's like, hey man, didn't you just get beat? You know, on that last play. Now you're over here, you know, running your mouth. I get it. Like it, you know, I get the confidence aspect of it, but something about that just pissed me off. Just go out and make plays because you haven't been making a whole hell of a lot of them. And as far as Eddie Jackson is concerned, you know, I think this is the last hurrah for Eddie. He needs to make plays himself. Like if he's going to be out there this weekend, I need an interception from you, Eddie. When's the last time you've heard Eddie making a big play? You know, it's been a while since you've heard Eddie Jackson making a big play, taking one to the house, anything like that. So I need him to step up. I don't feel like Eddie should feel comfortable with his position going into this, you know, into next year because the injuries are starting to mount. He's always hurt, it seems like. Brisker kind of has that same type of label as well, but I need to see Eddie make some plays, or else it's going to, you know, you're going to have to see some personnel changes. That's just me. Oh shit. I apologize. I went ahead and skipped.
You know, maintain strength where we're strong. So
I skipped back. Well, whatever. We'll skip ahead.
Analytics show with Justin Fields that he has been. The stat that they use is throwing more aggressively, which means throwing more frequently to receivers that are pretty well covered. The last 3 weeks, the number's been way up for him compared to the first 2 weeks. What happened?
Does anybody know if the cereal's good?
The comfort level, and I think you see him having more poise, you know, when he's in the pocket and when we're moving him out of the pocket. And I think he's getting a chemistry with the group, overall, you can see great chemistry with, DJ, and Cole and Mooney and the rest of the guys that are catching, for us. And you can see that in practice. And he feels more comfortable making those throws now. And it's going to continue to grow.
So on the last touchdown to DJ, even the announcers were rather ebullient in their praise that you could have just taken it conservatively. Why did you decide to make that throw on 3rd and 2 as opposed to just sitting on the ball?
That was a pretty conservative throw. It's a hitch route. So it's he just took it to the house. So it's just the guy went to make a play on the ball, and DJ had great focus and concentration, and then that's what happened. So it is a pretty conservative play.
Matt, over the past 2 weeks on offense, you guys used a lot more 12 personnel, and over the past 2 weeks, the offense has looked a lot better. What went into the decision to increase
Sorry,
that
guys.
12 personnel?
We definitely.
Yeah,
I apologize. I skipped ahead. I
we're
skipped
just
back
we're
on
having
accident.
conversations on that, and if it works, if it's right for us and it works for us, that's great. If it doesn't, then it'll be.
Once again, I apologize. I clicked on the timeline and it shot backwards. My bad. We're gonna go ahead and just try to find the spot we were at.
What it is, but we're still looking at it. We have an open mind, certainly on all those things to make us better. And there's nothing wrong with bringing somebody in that can help, that has a different perspective. But again, we're open-minded to that.
Are you gonna call plays either way?
Like I said, we'll see where it is. Right now, my plan is to do that for sure. But we'll see where it goes.
What do you see in Justin the last 2 games that you identify as true growth rather than just a couple of good games?
Yeah, I mean, you can just see the confidence, so, when you have,
Pretty sure
when you
we
have
already-
growth, in your profession or my profession or in him being a pro quarterback.
Try not to.
You can just feel it, and you can feel the guys around him, the comfort level
I'm
and
all
the confidence
thumbs,
that
Eric.
they're having, the chemistry that they're having. You can see it in practice. You can see it in the games. And to me, it's just about the growth is about the execution and then the consistency of that execution. So, in the games in practice, we've seen it. Obviously, he's 43 of 64 for almost 700 yards the last 2 games. So 8 TDs, 1 interception. So that's growth. That's really where it is. And then the consistency of that, just stacking games like he had the last 2.
Mm.
You create takeaways, and you also create protecting the ball. I think that's very important that you do that, and that's the number 1 stat in ball.
Man, how far does this win go towards quieting the adversity? People talking about Justin Fields, people talking about your job as well now that
I think
you
we're
have a
on
chance
track
to
now.
breathe a little bit. What do you think it means?
We take one game at a time, and we're going to be stick to the process of how we do our business. And if we keep doing right, good things are going to happen.
I will blame
And
Jack
that's what we're
O'Corn.
going to do.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Coach.
Like I said, that consistency with what they're going to do and how they operate, I'm fine with that if you're winning games. But like I said before, coming to me with, we're almost there, or coming to me with, or, coming to us with, hey, you just got to keep working, or give me some coach type of dialogue I don't need. I'm going to get pissed off. You're going to get pissed off. Phil's going to get fucking pissed off. Shane's going to get, everybody's going to be pissed off because we don't get the truth from you. So I can agree that them sticking together and trying to, block out the criticism that was justified, but still criticism is the truth. I could believe him there. And I think that led them to a victory on Thursday and could lead them, to more victories down the road. So, I think it's going to be better moving forward as far as how execution is on offense. Hopefully, a little more on defense as well. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to let Matt Eberflus completely off any type of hook, but I want to see growth out of him as a coach. Not only do I want him to go ahead and say, hey man, when things aren't going right, just tell us in a way that isn't, oh, everything's okay. Because everything wasn't okay. And everything still isn't okay. The Bears have a long way to go. Let's move forward.
Would you be looking for somebody experienced, someone you've worked with before that could take some of the defensive coordinator responsibilities off your plate?
Really just, looking at a few guys, and I think it's important
You made it, John.
get the right guy.
You're here.
But certainly experience helps, when you're looking at that position. Certainly somebody that's been in the league, a while or has been in the league. So I think that's important that way, but also knows, has relative and knows your defense a little bit too. So I think that's good. But again, we're ongoing in the process of that, and hopefully we'll get that going here shortly.
Theoretically, would that analyst be in the building?
What's that?
Would they be based in the building, or would they do that?
We're still working through that. That's definitely a possibility in the building, working partly remotely, so we can do either one.
What would you imagine that doing for you? Theoretically, if you brought in somebody in that role, what would that, I understand it would help overall, but how would it help you specifically with your responsibilities and the way you manage your time?
Yeah, it would just be more of a head start, a jump on a head start in terms of the advancement. So he would be, that person would be ahead on the next opponent, so working in advance, a whole week in advance. So that would be beneficial for us early in the week.
Do you anticipate getting Eddie and Jalen back?
Yeah, like again, injuries, we'll know more on Wednesday. Again, we don't have the clarification of that right now. Everything is looking good, with some of those guys, but certainly we'll see where it goes.
When you look at the Vikings and Jefferson, obviously gets a hamstring yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Do you just have to prepare as though he's going to play? How do you monitor those things from afar?
They won't have to do that anymore because Justin Jefferson is on the IR right now with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, exactly right. You have to prepare as if he's going to play. You always got to be ready for that because obviously one of the most dynamic receivers in the league. So you always got to prepare for that.
What jumped out at you about him last year when you played him?
Just his power and he's just fluid. How they keep him on the move and they do a really good job with him. He's strong through the catch point. Just a very dynamic player. One of the best in the league at that position.
And have you calls for a defensive analyst, as you call guys? Did you get positive feedback? Like people were interested, and now the decision's more on your side, or do you think the decision's more on their side?
Yeah, very positive. Yeah, very positive feedback. And there's great conversations. But yeah, I think it's all been positive.
Javon had probably his best game so far in Washington. What was different about what he did against the Commanders compared to the first 4 games?
Yeah, I think he's just getting more comfortable, more consistent. You could see his takeoff was better. I think that he was throwing his fastball rather than trying to, sometimes he has a tendency to read and never just, get off and go. So I just think he just is more consistent and he's feeling that, and you saw him do it, I know one of the pressures was on a screen, but still he had to, still had to take off and did a nice job, hitting the quarterback, and that's what we need. We need more hits on the quarterback.
Matt, when you're talking about the self-scouting, with Justin specifically, how do you balance the first 3 weeks and the last 2? Obviously, the first 3 happened, so I mean, how do you kind of weigh that in terms of figuring out what's next for him?
Yeah, it really just looking when you look at the growth that he's had, over the.
I think that's just coach talk, Jessica. For he has very strong hands. I mean, that's just me.
This year, it's been really good, and where the steps he's taken the last couple weeks has been where we all want it to go, and he's done that, and we just got to keep building upon that. It's just to being the consistent, performer that he is. He's always going to work hard in practice. He's always going to work his tail off to get that done. But putting himself in position, us as coaches putting him in position to succeed, is paramount. And he's done a good job with that the last couple weeks. We just got to keep building upon that, and being able to distribute the ball, to different skill, on our offense is going to be paramount going forward.
You guys have been banged up all across the defensive backfield, but to get Kyler back, you've talked for a year and a half now how important that is. What you guys wanted. What would it mean to have him ready?
Yeah, and again, my hat's off. Greg was in here before, Stroman. Stepping in there and doing what he did for the games he was in there. And the performance he had on Thursday night was just was really outstanding by him. So I just want to tip my hat to him. But Kyler, he's a good player, really good player, dynamic player in there at nickel. Does a lot of things for us. That position. If done right, enables us to play various coverages, able to, to pressure him, pressure player and do a lot of different things with him. And he's was on his way. He had a great camp. We were really excited about him starting the year, and then he got hurt the first game. And, so we've been, trying to put people in there. We've had Sanborn in there a little bit, we've had Stroman in there, had different guys in there, but it's going to be really good to get him back so we can be more consistent with our defensive alignment.
And I'm really excited to have Kyler Gordon back. In that first game, I felt like he was everywhere before he hurt his hand. I don't know what happened, whether it was a break or I don't know what was the situation, but he was flying. He looked like a guy that was ready to play this season, like a guy that was ready to take the next step in his career. And, it sucks that he got hurt, but we've been dropping like flies all year long, and, you can't make excuses, next man up. But I'm very excited to see Kyler Gordon back this week.
Matt, given that your philosophy, your defensive philosophy is based on getting pressure with 4, and you guys have had trouble doing that, how much have you adapted from these beliefs and these strategies that you've crafted for 30 years? How much have you adapted this season to a different reality and forcing yourself
There you go.
to kind
Thanks,
of
John.
think outside the box and get creative?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's all about the pressure, right? So we have to get creative. Certain ways of doing that, where it's sending different pressure players, I think is important. As you saw the other night, we did some of that, but again, it's got to be done with the right kind of guys too. The pressure player that's coming matters. And that could be the front 4, but it could be somebody from the second level. But again, you got to adapt. You got to adjust a little bit, and we'll see where that goes from here.
I think that pressure rate was the highest it's been, or the blitz rate's the highest it's been since you got here last year. I'm curious, what's the last time you blitzed as much as a defensive coordinator? Did you ever do that in Indianapolis, or do we have to go back to Missouri?
No, we did it. We did it there for sure. There's a couple games where it was an uptick, and again, it's all based on the team, right? It's all based on the team and where you're at with your football team. So pressure is paramount, and we're gonna have to continue to do that, either with 4 or 5 or 6 guys, and I think that's important to be able to do that. And with our
About
secondary
another
coming
30
back,
minutes.
we'll be able to be more flexible with that, in terms of pressure and what types of pressure we have.
Matt, when you went back and watched the film, what did you make of Tevin's debut, and do you envision that platoon at left guard kind of ending?
I would hope it ends. I would hope it ends. He's gonna tell you, we'll see. But if Tevin's playing like he did when he was out there, there's no fucking need to platoon.
We'll see where it goes. We liked Tevin in there. Tevin did a really nice job in there coming back. I think he had 37 plays, I want to say, but he performed well. And I thought he was, of course, you got to knock a little rust off. There was certainly that part of it, but he did a really good job in there, and certainly a good player, in there. He gives us a lot of size in there and a lot of lean mass, to hold the pocket firm inside there. And again, the offensive line the other night did a remarkable job of doing that, given Justin the time. Even when there were just the 5 guys in there without any chip help, they did a really good job of protecting throughout the whole course of the night.
When you look at potential defensive coaches to add, or analyst, whatever you want to call it, are you inclined to find someone that is very closely aligned with your defensive philosophy, or would you see a benefit to bringing in somebody that thinks differently than you and maybe add something to the equation?
No, I think I think it's both. I think you try to find a guy that has both, because he has to have some, similarities, because he knows the scheme, but also has different experiences to think outside the box, which brings new, fresh perspective in. So I think that's both things are always good.
Did you have a senior defensive analyst when you were in Indianapolis?
What's that?
Did you have a senior defensive analyst when you were?
I did not, but I did have a guy that was helping me advance, though, which was a good thing.
Deontay Foreman was kind of pushed out of the mix early this
Who was?
Deontay Foreman was pushed out of the mix early this season. If you need him because
It's like, damn, coach, if we can't hear him. If you can't hear him, like, I don't know what the hell's going on with your hearing or the audio, but one of the two sucks.
of injuries, what do you need to see from him?
Just him being him. He's a really good downhill runner. He's a physical player, and just that. Just what we saw last year on tape, and we just want to see just that during practice. And
Why wasn't he suited up for the first month of the season? If he's such a great player, he's such a good downhill runner, Seems like he fits our system. Why was he not suited up and a healthy scratch for the first fucking month of the football season? Why isn't that a question?
And that during the games and being consistent.
Matt, when you guys went back and scouted the schemes, when you looked at the first 3 weeks on offense compared to the last two, what led to the change?
I just think that we were aggressive. I really do. I think that Justin's more comfortable, and I think that we're just getting used to the continuity and the consistency of playing with and next to each other. And I think that's just really it.
All right, well, that does it for the interviews. Again, I'm not going to go ahead and beat a dead horse when it comes to Matt Eberflus, but there is a difference coming off of a win than a loss with how he speaks about certain things and how I can tolerate some of that coach speech. Like I said, he just needs to be honest when he does lose, because as happy as I am that they got a win and they're looking better and there's some progress with Justin, I'm still disappointed with how we're being told how this operation is run, or we're being told what's going on. And I know you can't tell us everything, but you could be at least honest with us with the product on the football field and the lack of execution and just the lack of any type of urgency during this stretch. Like, it felt like the Bears were just kind of going through the motions throughout this first month of the season, and I was afraid that there was going to be no end in sight. We're touching Lions territory. You know what I mean? Like, we're touching, and I'm not talking about this year's Lions. We're talking about old school Lions. We're talking about 0-16 Lions territory. So, that's the thing that really worried me. Like I said, I'm happy about the turnaround or the little bit of a turnaround that they've had so far. Got to keep it up. And you know what? Let's go ahead and jump into it. I know people have been waiting for it. My preview of the Vikings game and my picks. The Minnesota Vikings, they are a team that, in my opinion, is similar to Washington in the sense that they're coming off of a tough loss, a tough loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot of mistakes made, not only by the coaching staff, but also by the team. I feel like this Minnesota team, again, is ripe for the picking. They're ready to get got, and they're struggling with the run game. They do blitz a lot, but it's a team that doesn't scare me. They're a team that doesn't really strike fear. Their defense is a little older. They're not able to. They're having the same struggles with their front line or their defensive line as we were, in the past 4 weeks. So they're not able to generate as much pressure, not getting to the quarterback as much. They throw 72% of the time. 72% of the time, their running game with Madison, Akers, and I forgot who else. Where's their depth chart? I had it right here. Ty Chandler and Myles Gaskin. The leading rusher has 200, just a few ticks over 200 yards. So, in my opinion, I'm thinking they're going to go ahead and try to air it out on us, especially with how depleted we've been in our secondary. Guys are just coming back, so they're going to be trying to test the waters there a bit. They still have Jordan Addison, even though they're not going to have Justin Jefferson, and they still have Hawkinson at the tight end. So they have some weapons that could get open for Kirk Cousins down the field, but this team doesn't scare me. This team doesn't scare me. Like I said, they remind me of the Washington football team or the Commanders or whatever you want to call them. I think that they're in a position where they don't know who they are as a football team. They just lost one of their bigger players. There's questions surrounding that organization as well. We talk about polls being questioned. Their GM is being questioned with the quality of the talent that's being put on the football team. There's a lot of questions there with Minnesota, and I just feel like with the way that they played in a game that they could have won, should have won against a tough opponent, arguably the best team in the league, but that's still yet to be seen. They lost it. They lost the game. They gave it away to them. So I feel like they're going to be a team still reeling from that. I feel like the Bears are riding high. The Bears have the momentum, and I'm gonna go with the Bears again, man. I'm gonna pick the Bears again, and I'm gonna pick the Bears by a rather big score. I'm gonna pick the Bears 30, Vikings 19, and giving them 11, to against the Minnesota Vikings, I don't think is far fetched. Like I said, I think this Vikings team is a little downtrodden. I think the Bears are riding high, and I think the confidence in this Bears team is going to overwhelm a Vikings team come Sunday. So I'm going to do it again. Call me crazy again, Corn. I know you said you're not gonna doubt me anymore, but call me crazy again. I'm going to go with the Bears. Go ahead and win, like I said, 30-19 over the Minnesota Vikings. Get a little 2-game streak going. Maybe they could get 3 and finally have that winning streak that we're all looking for. But one step at a time. One step at a time. Bear Truth, what up, dog? Bear Truth has been following me since I started. And I'm talking about before last week on the network, but he's been following me since Sports Zone, since I started up doing podcasts and stuff like that. So what's up, Bear Truth? I appreciate you always showing love. But yeah, guys, Bears I feel like the Bears are going to pull it off. 30-19. It's going to be a good day come Sunday. So let's see what happens. But anyway, I'm going to wrap things up here. I know Chris Jackal is in some type of traffic and dealing with a lot of stuff. He was just messaging me. So we'd have loved to see him, but we wish him well, and hopefully he gets home in time for Keeping It Fantasy, which is coming up next. And don't forget, tomorrow, the big show, Keeping It 100 with the guys. They're going to be talking everything Bears. And Thursday night, Cars Keys is back. I cannot forget. I forgot it the last time. Can't forget it this time. Cars Keys is back. So check out Cars. Cars is going to be, giving you his opinion of what's the game to come up. And I'm sure he's going to be talking about what happened on Thursday night as well. And of course, leading into Sunday and BHL, right after the game, the boys are going to be breaking it down like they always do. The best Bears content on the planet. The tape never lies. I appreciate everybody that came out and supported. Thank you, Corn Planner. Was like, nope, you're not crazy. And Ivan, I trust. Well, thank you, Corn. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming out. Like I said, another Keeping It Fantasy will be on right after this. If Jackal's able to make it, there might be a programming change, but we will see. Thank you guys. I appreciate you all too. All right. Without further ado, I'm out of here. Bear down.